Welcome back to my channel Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. After 70 years, the James Dean mystery was finally solved. And it's worse than thought. James Dean was born James Byron Dean on February 8, 1931 in the small factory town of Marion, Indiana, USA. His parents were Winton Dean and Mildred Wilson. Winton first worked on a farm, but then decided to change jobs and become someone who fixes teeth to make more money and have a better life for his family. This change showed how many American families back then wanted to move up in life by learning new skills and getting better jobs. When the Dean family moved from small-town Indianato, California, it changed young James' life a lot, showing him new things and giving him chances he never would have had back in the Midwest. Once in California, James Dean went to Brentwood Public School. For a short time, this early school time was important, but nothing's special when it came to getting good grades. Helator moved to McKinley Elementary School, where his grades were just okay or not very good. Didn't stand out as a really smart student in regular school subjects. But this didn't show everything about who he was, because he had creative and deep feelings inside us that couldn't be measured by grades. James had a really close-on special relationship with his mother, Mildred. He often felt she was the only person who really got him, and could see past how he acted on the outside to his gently intense feelings inside. This relationship was sadly captured, and Mildred got very sick with cancer. She died from the sickness when James was just 9 years old, which hurt him deeply for the rest of his life. Losing his mother when he was so young left a mark on his heart that never went away, making him both fragile and desperado find meaning through acting and art. During his teenage years, James Dean went to Fairmont High School, where he started to fit in better with other kids and find his place. He was well liked by his classmates and played sports, doing both baseball and basketball. Playing sports showed his competitive side and want to connect with others. But he was interested in more than just sports. James also took acting classes and got better at speaking in front of people, showing he loved performing and telling stories early on. He finished Fairmont High School in 1949, which marked the end of being a teenager and the start of chasing his dreams more seriously after high school. James signed up for Santa Monica College, first deciding to study law. This choice might have been because either people expected it or his family hoped for a safe career. But while he was at SMC, he realized that becoming a lawyer didn't match what he really loved. His heart was pulled toward acting, a path that would let him explore human feelings. Well, people really are more deeply. So he moved to the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, where he changed what he was studying to drama. This brave choice made his father angry, because his dad didn't like how acting jobs weren't steady or sure. The fight created a gap between father and son, leading to a time when they didn't talk, which showed how much James was willing to give up for his art. While studying at UCLA, James Dean's talent started to show more clearly. Out of a group of 350 actors trying out for Thepard of Malcolm in Shakespeare's Macbeth, he got picked. Getting Jessen was proof of his natural ability and growing presence on stage. Even though he did well early on, James did not finish college. In 1951, Heck went to school to focus completely on the hard job of becoming a professional actor. James Dean's start in the entertainment business was small. His first time on TV was an ad commercial for Pepsi Cola, a short boutique important step that got him into television. Soon after, he got a tiny role in the funny movie Sailors Beware, which had famous comedians Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin in it. These early years were full of money problems and not knowing what would happen next. Dean often worked part-time jobs that had nothing to do with acting just to pay his bills, which happened to many actors trying to make it in Hollywood. Wanting to get better at acting, James moved to New York City, a place known for serious acting training. There, he went to the famous actor's studio where he learned from Lee Strasberg. Well-known acting teacher Wu made method acting popular in America. This tough training focused on real emotions and making characters feel real, which changed how Dean acted later on. While going to school, he worked as Sumione, who tested stunts on the game show Beat the Clock, mixing his need for money with staying close to the entertainment world. During the early 1950s, James Dunn built up his resume with small parts in different TV shows, slowly getting more experience and people knowing who he was. Has showed up in shows like Family Theater and the Bigelow Theater in 1951, the CBS Television Workshop in 1952, and the Hallmark Hall of Fame, That's a Year. These appearances, though small, showed his growing skills and hard work. Stage career also did well during this time. In 1952, he starred in an off-Broadway show-off, Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. A mind-bending play about a Monwo mysteriously turns into a giant, bug-like creature. The role made Dean explore complicated ideas about feeling alone and who you are, which matched his personal interests and acting style. In 1954, he appeared on Broadway in The Immoralist, a bold drama about a man fighting with his attraction to Menoir. Being married to a woman, the play was shocking for that timid, showed Dean's willingness to take undifficult material. That's a year. He also acted in another off-Broadway show, The Scarecrow, which told a dark story of a woman who uses magic to bring a scarecrow to life. For revenge on an old boyfriend, Hole left her when she was pregnant. Sestage roles showed Dean's commitment to playing deeply human and often troubled characters. James Dean's big break in Hollywood came in 1955 with movie East of Eden, where he played Cal Trask, a young man dealing with feeling not good, a difficult relationship with his father, who liked Cal's more stable and successful brother, Aaron, better. This was Dean's first big movie role, and his emotional performance got lots of praise, making him a rising star with real acting talent. That same year, Dean gave what will become his most famous performance, Sin, Rebel Without a Cause, playing Jim Stark, a troubled teenager dealing with feeling left out in family fights. Dean captured what it felt like to be a young person in the 1950s. The movie release spoke to teenage audiences who saw themselves in Jim's rebellion and hurt feelings. This role made Dean's legacy as a cultural icon and symbol of young people's anger, making him a lasting figure in American movies and popular culture. James Dean's sexuality has long been something people wondered about and talked about in Hollywood circles and among fans, showing the mystery and intrigue that surrounded his life. During a time when open talks about sexuality were often forbidden, especially in the strict atmosphere of 1950s America, Dean's private life became a place for lots of guessing. Decades after his tragic death, William Bast, one of Dean's closest friends, and people he trusted, made a shocking revelation, added new parts to the actor's personal story. Bast said that their friendship had sometimes turned into asexual relationship. This honest admission not unlike challenged the strictly straight story that Hollywood often wanted, but also showed light on how fluid Dean's desires and emotional connections were. Bast's revelation helped make Dean more human in a way that went beyond celebrity gossip, showing him as a young man figuring out complicated feelings in our restrictive social world. Despite this part of his personal life, James Dean was also known to have dated several women, showing that his romantic life had many sides rather than fitting into just one category. Among the women he was connected to were Beverly Wills, a smart and charming actress, Barbara Glenn, who was known for her acting career, and Liz Sheridan, would later become famous for her role in the TV show Seinfeld. These relationships, though maybe less talked about at the time, show that Dean was very much involved in the social and romantic world of Hollywood, making meaningful connections with women who appreciated his charm and depth. Maybe the most famous and publicized of Dean's romantic relationships was his passionate affair with Pier Angeli, a beautiful Italian actress who was celebrated for her beauty and talent. Their relationship has fascinated the media and the public, not only because of their intense chemistry, but also because it seemed to represent the tragic star-crossed romance that Dean's life often brought up. Pier Angeli's glamorous presence and international appeal brought a different side to Dean's world, connecting his story with European movies and culture. The affair was marked by deep emotional intensity and was widely reported in the press, making Dean's image even stronger as a restless and passionate young man caught up between the pressures of fame and his own James Dean has remained one of Hollywood's most lasting and mysterious icons for over 7 decades. His name alone brings up the raw energy, youthful rebellion, and tragic promise of a star who burned too bright and disappeared too soon. Despite the decades that have passed since his early death in 1955, many questions and rumors have swirled around what happened in his deadly car crash. For years, fans, people who write about lives, investigators have tried to put together what really happened on that awful day when Dean's Porsche 550 Spider crashed into another car on the back roads of California. But after 70 years, new evidence and investigations have finally brought answers to the mystery. And what they found is far more disturbing and complicated than anyone imagined. First, the stories around James Dean's death have long been clouded by guessing and making it seem romantic. Many stories painted the crash as a tragic accident. A cruel twist of Toad took away a promising young actor as height of what he could do. But recent discoveries challenged this simple story, covering parts of carelessness, reckless behavior, and possible life in someone doing something bad on purpose. The new findings showed that the crash was not just a case of bad luck or one mistake, but rather a series of poor choices and dangerous situations that spiraled into disaster. One of the most shocking discoveries is about the condition of Dean's car itself. It's a Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard. It was a high-performance racing car not built for regular street driving. Experts now believe that Dean's car had mechanical problems with broken brakes and steering issues that made it really hard to control AFE speeds Dean was driving. Despite warnings from his mechanic and other racers, Dean insisted on driving the car himself, not understanding how dangerous both the machine and the risky roads he chose were. This reckless confidence was a deadly flaw, but it shows Dean's larger-than-life personality, a man who often took risks without thinking through consequences. Along with mechanical problems, the other driver, the collision. A young college student named Donald Turnipseed was driving a regular Ford Tudor sedan. Investigations have shown that while Turnipseed did try to avoid collision, poor visibility and unclear road markings helped cause this crash. For decades, some people blamed Turnipseed for causing the crash. But recent studies make it clear that both drivers were responsible and that Turnipseed was also a victim of unfortunate situations. This makes the story more complicated, painting it as a clear-cut accident caused by one person and more as a tragedy born of multiple human mistakes. Environmental effect. Even more upsetting is the discovery of alleged cover-ups right after it happened. Records and witness accounts show that local police and certain police involved may have hidden or changed details to protect reputations or avoid legal consequences. This hiding off information made the mystery last longer, allowing myths and conspiracy theories to grow. What these cover-ups suggest shows a darker side to Hollywood and law enforcement back then, a willingness to hide inconvenient truths to protect celebrity images and keep the public calm. Also, the mental state of James Dean leading up to the crash. It's another layer of complication. Interviews with friends, family, and co-workers show that Dean was under tremendous pressure from his skyrocketing fame and was dealing with personal demons, including using drugs and intense emotional problems. His reckless driving may have been a sign of this deeper instability, a way of showing he was a man pushing boundaries both on and off screen. This makes Dean more human beyond the mythical, without a cause, persona, revealing a vulnerable person struggling with burdens of sudden stardom. It's a cultural impact of this revelation is huge. For decades, James Dean's death was shrouded in mystery, which in part made his legendary status as a tragic icon of youth and rebellion stronger. Now that the truth is more fully exposed, the public must deal with a more complex and unsettling reality. Rather than a romanticized accident, Dean's death becomes a warning story of both dangers of pride, the consequence of ignoring warnings, and the human cost behind Hollywood glamour. In conclusion, after 70 years of mystery, the full story behind James Dean's death finally comes out from the shadows. The new evidence reveals a much grimmer truth than the one long believed. A tragedy caused by mechanical failure risky decisions, human error, and deliberate eating of facts. While this knowledge may destroy some illusions, it also deepens a rare understanding of the complicated man behind legend and the deadly fragility. Fame and youth, James Dean's legacy remains untarnished in its power. But now it carries with it a sharper reminder of the tragic vulnerabilities hidden beneath the Hollywood spotlight.